My goodness. My goodness. I see what happened. I see what happened. That was... Well, that was embarrassing, sort of, and a lot of wasted time. Wow. I don't know how on earth that got, which I always ask people to tell me, can you hear it okay? And my goodness. Well, I just told you a lot of really good things in the last 20 minutes that nobody heard. But hopefully if you could read lips, then you would hear everything that I said. Wow. What a bummer. I don't know how. I spend my entire life messing with audio and things. So for something like that to happen is funny. Shouldn't happen like that. If you knew how much I play around with this stuff. Oh well. My bad. Yes, it does, and it's the worst. It only things like this have to happen when you go live. That's just the nature of the beast. But fortunately, I'll let it bounce right off me. That's not a big deal. So, since everybody missed everything that I've been saying for the last 20 minutes, I won't go into it deep what I was saying, but I basically am going to go over. I use Screenflow for pretty much everything. For all of my tutorial making, Screenflow is the center of my recording or my tutorial making. I use it for screencasting. I use it for recording, kind of just talking head type short videos. I also use Ecamm, but I will use Screenflow more for the basically just recording my camera, doing a little talking head straight on video. All of my screencasting though, and kind of the combination of recording screens and myself, all done in Screenflow. I also record. I don't do a lot of like outside editing, but if I am, if I do have a bunch of clips of video that I want to put together, I may go into Premiere if I want it to be more professionally done and more kind of, I don't know, there's certain level of videos where I'll use Premiere, but I'll end up jumping into Screenflow for just very quick edits and things that I just want to throw together because it's so fast, versus using something like Premiere where it just feels like you have to put more investment of time. So Screenflow is, if you're new to Screenflow, if you don't use it that much, it's incredibly versatile. You can do so much in Screenflow. It's stable, I think. Like, I never have much problems with it, so it's there for me when I need to edit a video or do anything. So there are plenty of problems with it. I mean, I do run into problems, but for the most part, it's been one of my more reliable and trustworthy apps that I'm in every day, multiple hours per day. And I beat up on things pretty hard with, I jump back and forth between different apps, and I do lots of just little quick things, and Screenflow always handles the task. So what I was going to do tonight was do kind of I was going to try to do, I might not do the full edit, or I'm trying to figure out what is going to make the most sense. I want it to be completely, valuable to whoever's watching and to whoever's watching the replay. So what I was going to try to do is edit a project that I need to edit, the tutorial that I've made, I've already recorded it, and I would show you how I typically would approach an edit. And I will just go through as much as I can and try to answer any questions anybody has. And if there's people that are new to Screenflow, or or been using it for a while, and you just want me to help you with something that you're struggling with, or help you understand something that you've always wanted to do in Screenflow, but having I don't know, just something that you're not sure how to do, by all means, I can turn it into a full-on tutorial on Screenflow, like a Screenflow 101, which is basically what I called this live stream, because I wanted it to be a full-on. I want all of these live streams, I want them to be helpful. So, and if I can get some work done editing and it helps you, then I thought it would be a win-win situation. So yeah, if you have questions about Screenflow or something that you're working on that you want me to help you with, just drop a comment in the chat, and I will make sure to answer those. Otherwise, I am going to kind of put together this edit, and I'm going to show you kind of how I approach things. I think watching people do real time, I find that helpful. So I thought I would show you. This is what you see in Screenflow. This is kind of the the bird's eye view of Screenflow, and the way I was in right there. That's a weird picture of me at the bottom there. It's hard. We start getting into meta stuff here when I'm editing, showing myself, and I'm editing a video with me in the video. It's going to get very confusing. Let me go into this one, which is a little less confusing. I'm trying to minimize the number of me's on the screen. It's very difficult for me to watch myself all over the place, and I can only imagine it would be for others as well. But me right here that you're looking at, that is the canvas. So that's the main window where you assemble your Screenflow projects. It's what you're using to look at everything. It's what you're using to create your final video. This canvas area right here. You can change your canvas to any size you want. So if you want to do a square canvas, if you want to do a vertical canvas for Instagram Live, or a wide canvas, which you see here, this is a if I click in the top right corner here, I don't know why it's not showing you my monitor, so it's kind of hard in the menu, but if you look in the top right corner where my cursor is, it looks like a crop button, but here that'll show you what the canvas size is. A lot of people don't even know that exists. It used to be down here by the timeline, but now it's in the top right corner of Screenflow 10. Again, it looks like a crop icon. You click on that, and that will show you what the canvas size is. So my monitor is a 5K monitor, so it is, you're probably having trouble seeing it, but 5120 by 2880. There's some presets here that you can choose. But if you ever wanted to change your canvas size, you can do so by changing the canvas size, or when you create a new document. When you create a new document, it is basically going to, let's just see if I can move me out of here a little bit. Yeah, that's not showing me, but if you create a new document, you can choose the document size that you want. You can choose, presets for Instagram Live, or for any size you want. You can create your canvas that size. I'm definitely going to say your first name wrong. Looks French. If that's your, I don't know how to say it. I speak a little Spanish, but not French. I find subs are a bit flaky in Screenflow. What has been your experience if you've subs at all? Can you can you just clarify what you mean by that? I'm having trouble understanding what you're asking me. What has been your, if you've subs? What are subs? Maybe I'm just drawing a blank since I was thrown off by my sound issue earlier. maybe I'm having a memory lapse night, which is extremely possible. But if you could just clarify what you mean by that, that would help me out. Hi, Jack. Yeah, Jack, if you could let me know what you're referring to with the subs, that would... I'm not entirely sure what you mean. And how do you curate your Screenflow projects? I get warning signs when backing up to Dropbox or Google Drive. How do you store and back up your projects? I will tell you that this has been a new... I also experience issues. I keep everything on Google Drive. And I feel like Google Drive... it's very hard to determine who's to blame or if there's a person to blame, but there's definitely an issue when you're storing to a cloud storage. I have not tried it with iCloud Drive as like my main storage of projects, but I do use Google Drive and I don't get errors. Well, I take that back. When I render, I do get an error. This is a fairly new thing that I haven't even really tried to solve that hard, but I know what you're referring to with Google Drive because you definitely will get errors from time to time. I did from time to time, but I feel like I feel like have overcome the initial errors with Google Drive, and I'm not getting them anymore. Only when I export do I get this little folder that gets created in my Google Drive that's different. It's an automated folder. It causes no problems whatsoever, so I just leave it. Subtitles. Gotcha. I think in general, I don't think Screenflow is the culprit or the issue with the cloud storage. I think there's just the nature of the beast with working on the Macs to the cloud storage. I mean, I'm sure it's a problem that people could solve. It drives me nuts too because I keep everything on Google Drive. But I don't think Google Drive or even Dropbox, they're not intended to be the hard drive for a computer. And I think there is that sort of compromise that we make. You know, if you're using an SSD drive attached to your computer, that's the way, you know, probably the ideal way. But for me, I keep everything on Google Drive, as you might as well, because I have unlimited storage on my G Suite. And when I have little issues, it's never anything drastic that really affects anything. So I kind of take the compromise. I wish it could be perfect, but it's not, and I kind of just have learned to deal with it. Lots of questions, Jack. Awesome. Let me go through these, and I will attack these and keep questions coming. This is not a absolutely love them. Okay, so what has been your experience with subtitles? Guilty of I am terrible at creating subtitles, and I really and YouTube now with the captions, I think YouTube is sort of taking over with doing kind of automated subtitles. It's something that I am embarrassed to say that I slack on. I feel like I should put more emphasis into doing captions and everything. And I made a real effort to do it for a while. And I do think that the subtitling in Screenflow was just so annoying to me for a while that I just stopped doing it. It took me so long to do them. It just became this extra burden. and I just got out of the habit of doing it. So guilty, but I think YouTube is now sort of making it you can put captions on your videos, and it seems to do a pretty good job of it. So can you, if you tell me when you say flaky, do you mean that is it the actual creating the subtitles, like the captions, or is it, do you find that they're not reliable? Like, is there, because I've never had, I wouldn't know what issues they would have other than it being not like a good user experience creating them. Let me see. Here's the caption track. Yeah, I feel like Screenflow 10 did a better job with the captions, but whatever reason, I always found it extremely distracting, and I never wanted to use the caption track, so I just completely got out of the habit of doing it. So let me get that out of there. It's so bad that my muscle memory doesn't even go to it very well. Sound treatment. Yes. So let me just go into the inspector panel. This again, you're going to see my face everywhere, so I apologize, because this video I'm editing is the same thing that you're seeing here, only me on the other side, and all the clips are of me. So in the audio tab, if I select an audio, this is a great thing, and I don't know if, I really hope people are using the style presets in Screenflow, and I feel like I'm behind in the number of, I feel like I need to add more tutorials about the style presets just to make sure people are really using them, because they're so powerful and great. But if I click on the little cube in the top right, that's the style preset button. And I do have style presets that I use. I'm going to be honest with you, since I moved my studio to a new place and I have a kind of a new setup with things. I'm using the Rodecaster Pro now, and I used to have a different audio interface that I still use. So I'm kind of going in between different things, and the style presets, I'm not liking the way they treat the Rodecaster Pro. So I'm experimenting with a few different things to eliminate the need to use, to really boost the volume. I'll tell you what I don't use, and a lot of people love it, is the smooth volume levels. This is something that a lot of people just really like in Screenflow. I think it just really crunches the audio and just makes it really harsh to me. So I typically do not use the smooth audio levels or volume levels. I'm sure that if I really put more effort into it and kind of changed the mix and did a few other things, I could probably come to a better solution. But for the most part, that has never been a good solution for me. But again, I do know a lot of people, or I've seen like a lot of tutorials and a lot of people talking about how great it is. So I don't know if it's my voice or what, but I don't like it. But I do down here. So if you look at my presets down here, if I was to click on this right here, I don't even know what this is at this point, but let me just so that adds just a very basic this dynamics processor. This is just it's basically compression. I add some master gain, so I would often try to record in fairly low and then just use the compression and the master gain. Just kind of keep some of these settings, a threshold at -20. I might go down to like -6, excuse me, -16. But I try to keep the compression very subtle, and then just use the master gain to bring up the overall volume after it's been compressed. And then I use this peak limiter, so the peaks, so the volume of the audio levels do not peak. So this is a hard limiter. These are basically the built-in Apple effects that are on every Mac that you would get, using GarageBand type thing, but they're available through Screenflow. So this right here is a, oops, I don't know why that went away. Let me, sorry about that. Let me, yeah, so if I go back up to this, these are style presets that I created for the audio. And some of these, like ducking, I use ducking all the time, and that's basically if you have audio, your voiceover, and then you have some music underneath, the music bed. I'll use ducking to lower the music when I'm speaking. I don't use a ton of music in my videos. I would use them totally more if I was slower with my video editing, but I tend to crank things out. This jack completely makes my day. That means a lot to hear that, and again, makes my day. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you to your colleagues. SpeedScriber. I'll have to look into that. I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, I use for podcasting and for many things I use Descript, which with video you could take the audio and put it into Descript, and it makes really awesome. It's really pretty great at transcribing. It actually does a great job of fixing audio. It's got kind of like AI magical boost audio stuff too, which I don't typically use, but if you wanted to make the audio for your videos a quick fix along with captions or along with the transcription, Descript does a pretty good job with that, but I'll look into SpeedScriber. Final Cut Pro, I'm on a 90-day trial because I can't stay away from tinkering with everything. And Premiere Pro, I'm an Adobe person through and through, but I feel like Final Cut Pro is just so fast and easy and efficient. And I'm on this new M1 Max where it's totally meant for Final Cut Pro, and yeah, it's kind of next on my tinker list of getting. I've used it many times in the past, but I haven't really used it consistently. So I'm gonna go into Final Cut Pro along with Motion, and just try to get have it as a back burner tool, if not something that I use all the time. Amir, welcome from the UK. So great to have you. UK must be, you must be a night owl. I feel like it's late there. But thanks for joining me in the middle of the night, I think. Or it's got to be late. 6 hours? What time is it here? 9:45 here, so you're late. Thank you. Why have I stopped doing Screenflow tips? I haven't stopped. My goodness. Oops. I almost banned you by accident. I clicked the wrong button, Screenflow. Why have I stopped? No, I haven't stopped at all. I think what you're looking at right now, the video, let me zoom out a little bit. This video right here that I'm editing, this is a Screenflow video. If I show you what it's about, then you'll get a preview before I even put it out there. Oh gosh, how many Screenflow videos? No, I think I have. I haven't even checked, but I feel like I have like. Oh, Jack says, please. Well, you guys are making me feel very good for sure. Please tell us how to do the style presets and their keyboard shortcuts. Okay. I'll show you a little bit. I'll show you a little bit now, but I have a tutorial in the works, or it's on my list of short list, I would say, and I will crank that out soon to just to sort of revisit. What happens to me a lot of times is I make a lot of videos, and sometimes I'll make a video where I think I just made it, and it might be like 2 versions ago, and I sort of forget, or not forget, but I just, you know, I try to be consistent, especially when there's a version of a program. But I feel like the style presets, I haven't made one in a while, and it's something I use so much that I feel like people don't take advantage of them. I don't know why. I don't know everybody's Screenflow's habits, but I have this gut feeling that people are not using Screenflow or style presets to their full capacity because they are awesome. So Jack, I tend to record dry, but I'm doing live using a 286. I had a 286S for many years, and I think I did like it. It's so finicky and so fine-tune-ish that I feel like I always wished that I didn't have it on when I would get a recording. So I just found myself more and more not using it until the point I just said I would rather just have full control when I'm done. But I loved the 286 when I used to do a lot more live streaming. I loved it when I was doing live because you could kind of just tweak it on the go, and I thought that was great for live streaming. But for everyday recording, I just started fading away from the 286 and just went straight into like I still have the Scarlett line of audio interfaces. They're very simple and basic, but I kind of like that just dry, clean input. But 286S, if you know how to use it and you got the settings dialed in, it's great. Amir, the setting or the software that I'm using is Ecamm Live. And I think there was an update to Ecamm Live, and I did a little bit of tinkering earlier, which is why I started this live stream today with no sound. I had no idea, but oh well. Yeah, Ecamm Live, if you're not using, is fantastic. If I could get faster in Ecamm Live in terms of, so I've had Ecamm on my computer for years. I got it when it first came out, and then it just got hidden in my applications folder because, again, I tinker with so many different tools, and it just fell in the wayside. And then I wanted to ramp up live streaming, and so I brought out Ecamm and upgraded it. And my God, I always knew it was good, and I always knew I'd get back to it. I'm having some minor issues with latency, but I could almost see it replacing Screenflow, which I think a lot of people use. And I don't think it'll replace Screenflow, but it will. It's very capable of replacing Screenflow, in that you can really set up a full-on screencasting setup to record your camera. So it's a great tool to have in my arsenal of recording, and a lot of people in the Ecamm world use Ecamm the same way that I use Screenflow. So I'm so fast in Screenflow that when I need to record a tutorial and make something, I just end up firing it up and going in Screenflow. But I could totally do it. And I have made stuff in Ecamm, but I tend to waste more time because I'm not so fast with all the movements of it that I am in Screenflow. So I end up wasting more time than I want, or taking more time. But that's just a matter of once I start continuously practicing it and doing it, then I think it could be a really great tool for what I do. DaVinci Resolve. I've also used DaVinci Resolve, and it is a great tool. There's just so many good things out there. I love knowing how to use a little bit of all of them. I feel like they all have their pluses and their little thing that makes them unique or good. And I think for me, I like to be familiar with a lot of them. I might not use them on a regular basis, but I will use a lot of them, or I like to know what it is that they do well in case something comes up and I'm saying, oh, DaVinci would be good for this, and that way I can just open it up and jump right in and do something. Yeah, I just in December I upgraded my MacBook after many years, and yeah, I'm on an M1 Max now. So 2:42 a.m. Amir, awesome. Let's see what we got. This is awesome. Keep the questions coming. I may never have to get to Screenflow editing. And for everybody who is Screenflow, or with Amir and Jack, I have been trying to make a Screenflow comprehensive class for over a year now, and I just cannot get put it all together to get it done. I'm going to get it done. It is really like a huge weight on my back, quite honestly, that I just cannot seem to get this class, or I have several classes that I want to get done. I just really want to be able to package up the things that I really want people to know how to use. So I'm not trying to make these crazy elaborate classes. I want them to be fast. My style is to be fast and to the point with tutorials, so I want my class to be the same way. But I also want it to just be okay, I want to just share all the things that I do, all the things that I know about Screenflow in a package. And I'm desperately trying to get this done. So be on the lookout. It's coming. I can't say a date, but I'm hoping within 6 weeks. I'm going to say that as my target date. So let me see what KC says. Hello, Mike. Hello, KC. Do you have any suggestions with exporting GIFs and videos from Screenflow using a Retina display? Some of the exports are either super large or the quality is not great. So you know how to export them, it sounds like. It's your issue, it seems to be the size. And that is a dance that you have to do for sure. I think it makes a huge difference. I feel like I haven't like studied the sizes in a while. Like there was a moment where I really probably could tell you some really detailed specifics on them, but I do know the size that you're creating them makes a big difference. So if you're used to creating videos in like a 1920 by 1080 and you're exporting your GIFs, they're going to be huge. So if you can get the canvas size down a lot smaller and export them, I think you're going to find they're at a higher quality and a much smaller file size. So really try to get the canvas size down small, or when you're exporting, just choose a smaller size. Again, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a balance. And a lot of times when you're previewing, if you have like a big monitor and you're previewing a small thing, it kind of looks bad. Often on a big monitor, like especially if you're using like a 5K monitor and you exported something out at a kind of a lower resolution. But when you export it and you upload that GIF to Instagram or wherever you're sharing it on social media, it often won't look as bad as you sort of think that preview is. So I know what you're saying because I know the struggle, but the short of the answer is it's like everything else in graphics. It's all trial and error, and sometimes you really don't think that doing that one little adjustment is going to make a difference, and it can. I'm often like, this isn't going to make any difference, and I'll do it, and I'm like, well, that made a difference. So start with the canvas size at a different size. Try to make your animations maybe smaller. Export them at the highest quality. Look at the size. Export them again, and just juggle it. And if you're really struggling in the Screenflow, then try in Photoshop. Okay. Jack, I'm gonna get to the you guys are making me feel very good. Yes, I'm gonna jump onto the Screenflow presets in just a second. And Casa Esther, I love the name, making me feel so good. The Screenflow tips are helping people. I love it. And I am very much open to tutorial requests. So if there's something that you are just hoping that I cover or wanting me to create a tutorial about, I mean, there's a very good chance that I've already created one. They're probably old, outdated, and make me super embarrassed that they're still out there in the world, but there's chances are that I've covered it at some point because there's only so much you can cover in Screenflow. But if there's something you want me to cover, again, I'm going to do the style presets are coming soon, and I will come right now and tell a few. But so clear and concise, that makes me feel so good. I work hard at trying to make them, or I really try to focus on making my tutorials just to the point. Jack, I don't know. I would think that Screenflow is aware of me. And you're very welcome, Casey. Hopefully that helped. Not a great answer, but the best I could do with the GIFs. Yeah, I don't know. It's not true. I do have somebody at that used to work at Telestream, and for a minute or there, I felt like I was on the radar a little bit, but yeah, I don't get much interaction with Telestream. I think they're bigger than I think they are in terms of size of a company, but yeah, I have reached out to them. I know that I think I'm not as good as I should be about going into the community forum. I wish I actually like to, because I enjoy it. But yeah, I've reached out to them several times just because I kind of want them as my, like, I don't even want anything from them. I want like material to teach. I want them to feed me. All right, hold me to it. 6 weeks, Amir. Yeah. So I hope it's even sooner, but the way my track record is terrible with classes, I can't really explain the burden that I have with classes. I don't understand why it's my kryptonite. But let's do this. Let me let's go to the inspector panel. Oops, why is that coming up like that? Okay, so the inspector panel. That is what you see in the top right corner. That's these right here, right? This pretty much is run Screenflow. And all of these have a keyboard shortcut. I think people probably know that, but Command 1, Command 2. So if you just hit you're not going to see my screen things, but Command 1, Command 2, Command 3, Command 4, Command 5. An underused keyboard shortcut, I think, by many, including myself, but using Command 1, 2, 3 can speed things up a little bit. So one of my favorite quotes of all times is, it's Mark Twain, but Mark Twain gets credited with every quote, so it could not be Mark Twain, but it's, I would have said less, but I ran out of time, or I didn't have enough time. And that quote of I would have said less, but I didn't have time, because it is a lot. It's harder than people think to say less. It takes time to pack things down. Fortunately, it's starting to come. I mean, it's sort of my style of teaching, but yeah, the shortness is a misnomer. A lot of people think it's easier because they're short, but I tend to think my videos, I think it would be a lot easier for me to make 10-minute videos than it would to make 2-minute videos. But anyways, so I'm going to come down, I'm going to zoom out. I want to be up close so I can show you everything, but let me just pull in the full Screenflow here. So when you select something, so if I select any clip on the timeline here and go up to the video, you see there's the little cube in the top right corner. If I click that, basically these are things that I can add. These are style presets that I can add to anything. So I can create a style preset. Basically, you're basically saying everything I do to this clip, I want to save it so I can reuse it over and over again. Okay? So one of the things I do all the time, so this is going to be very hard to see it. I don't know if it's going to work. Let me see if I can. I'm going to try to... Okay, so I want you to look right here, my mouse cursor. So this is my big cursor that you're seeing through Ecamm, but then right next to it, or I'm pointing to my mouse cursor. So I'm going to select the screen recording clip. Then I'm going to come up to the style presets. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm going to go to the screen recording preset. So that's the fourth one over. I'm going to click on style presets. And I have a style preset called Pointer 500. So when I click that, watch the size of the mouse cursor. You see how it just got bigger? I'm going to undo, so hopefully you can see it. So my style preset for screen recording, Pointer 500. When I click on that, now my mouse cursor is big. And I like to present with my cursor big. That's just something that I do for all my tutorials. I like to just make the cursor big so people can see it. So if I was to, let me get me out of here a little bit. I'm gonna try to make myself a little smaller here. Get out of the way a little bit. Zoomed in. So what I do, I will select all of my screen recordings, so all the bottom ones. And the way that I select everything, this is a great tip right here. If you're not using this, I come to the beginning, I tap the letter N. And when I tap the letter N, you'll see my cursor turns into, let me undo that. I'm going to tap N. You're not seeing it, but if I click on this little toolbar right here, and let me bear with me a little bit, so I'm trying to make it so you can see it. So hopefully that's easier to see. If we come down here, you see this right here, track select, keyboard shortcut N. This is a great keyboard shortcut and something I use all the time. So I jump between A, well, I only go to N when I'm in the beginning more or less, but A is your main select tool, and N is going to select everything to the right. So if I click on this first clip, everything gets selected on that track. So if I click, you see here, let me so I'm going to select N, track select, I click, now everything got selected. And I can also hold the shift key and click on this and select everything. So anything to the right when you use the track select tool gets selected. And the reason I do that is because then I go up to the inspector panel, so everything's selected. I go up to screen recording. I do this in the beginning of my tutorials, and I click on my pointer. I also have a smaller one if I think 500 is too big for a certain video. But I'll click on that, and now everything on my timeline for the screen recordings that has a cursor will have the larger cursor. So it's one thing that I do in the beginning. It's just sort of my setup of starting the tutorial, but doing that, having it so I just go to the track select tool, I just tap N, I make sure I'm at the beginning, and I just click, and then I apply that style preset. It takes 1 second to increase the cursor size for my entire timeline. So that type of thing, having style presets for those shortcuts of the things that you do over and over again, is just the best. It's really a time saver. Crunch channel, welcome, hello. So what are you asking? Hello, while I'm editing, I found this. Oh, you found, awesome. So welcome. We are talking Screenflow. So you were editing in Screenflow and you got this? Awesome. Yes, Screenflows are not just for fonts. They're for everything. They really are for everything. So if you go up here, if you look at the tabs, Command 1, Command 2, you will see the little cube. Now if it's grayed out, that means that you don't have something selected where they're available. So that's all that's saying. So if I had something that was selected, if I don't have any audio selected, then my style presets are unavailable. So that's all that is doing. But every single thing, the titles, the touch callouts, which I don't use a whole lot. I use screen recording a lot, but I have keystrokes. So I will have certain styles for different types of keystrokes. Video motion. I don't use as much as I used to. But I have audio presets. I have video presets. Video presets I use for... I have a video preset. This is a pretty big hack here, or pretty big tip for many people. The secret of Screenflow that I wish someday they would just figure out already. But let me go... So here I am right here. Actually, this is not a good example. Let me do this one right here. So you see me looking like I'm seeing a ghost over here. I look startled or something. I'm not sure what. Yeah, so if you select your timeline, so notice how, if you can look down in the bottom right corner, if you click on something and everything gets selected and you're confused, that means that you're still on the track select tool. So tap on the letter A. That will get you back to the regular selection tool. If you're using the track select tool to select all the clips to the right and you forget to go back to the A, some weird things will happen, or you might have trouble moving clips around. Just get in the habit of tapping A to bring you back to the move select tool. But if you can see here, so let me go back to, so there I am in the bottom right corner, right? This is my webcam. And I often like to have myself down here in the corner. This is my eCam one, so let's not get confused here. That's me right now. And then this right here, this one is in Screenflow for this project, okay? So I am going to come up to the video tab in the inspector panel. That's the first one. I'm going to come over to my style presets, and I have this circle medium right corner. And when I click this, magic happens. Ready? Click. And now I am in the corner, exactly where I like to be, the size I want to be in the corner. So when I was recording, or when I first recorded the project, it came in a wide, and if I want to go into the circle, all I can do, I can select all of the clips that I want. So like if I know that I want every single one of my webcams to be in a circle, I just select the clip, I go up to my style presets, and now I'm in a circle, just like that. And then the circle in Screenflow, for whatever reason, they will not add that as a feature. I wish they would. It's such a basic thing that everybody likes in their tutorials, but I do have a video on how to create the circle. It's a magical mystery thing. You just use the cropping tool. But once you create a circle, you can save it as a style preset, so you don't have to go through the hassle of figuring out the settings that you need in the cropping tool. Valerie, welcome. I know last week you were late to the party, so I'm glad you made it back. Welcome, welcome. And he tips into ripple delete on one track and doing ripple delete with the entire project. Let me try to make sure I understand what you want, but ripple delete is, if anyone is not familiar with ripple delete, it's definitely, I'm going to get rid of myself here. Here's another little bonus tip. An unknown, not an unknown, but a sort of a hidden little thing that I don't think is very apparent or intuitive. But if you select a clip, let's say that I don't want to see this clip because I'm tired of looking at multiple versions of myself. So if I don't want to see that, and maybe I want to mute that track or that clip, if you tap on the letter V, it goes away. It basically disables that clip. If I tap V again, it brings it back. So when I tap V, it's telling me that I'm basically just hiding that clip from the timeline. It's still there, so it didn't go anywhere, but you see it grays out. And that's something really helpful if you're kind of doing something you don't want to hear the audio or you don't want to see it. Just tap on the letter V. That's going to hide everything. If I tap again, now all those clips are gone. I can't hear the audio. If I tap V again, it comes back. So V to hide or to disable. Yeah, so ripple delete is, I feel like, a basic, or it's something that's sort of in all nonlinear editor, video editing, audio editing. It's a staple for video editing. Or it's a foundation or a fundamental of video editing. And basically what it does is when you select clips, when I delete this section of clips here, if I just tapped on the delete key, whoops, let me undo that. So if I was just select these clips and I just tapped on the delete key, that's just going to leave a space in the timeline, which is not what a lot of people want. If you use ripple delete, it's going to delete the two clips, and it's going to bring everything to the right of the timeline to the left to fill in that space. So you don't lose your sync of your video and you don't have this big space in the middle. I mean, you might want the space to put something else in, but for the most part, you want to do, you want to get rid of those clips and have everything slide to the left to fill in the gap so you can just keep editing. And to do so, you hold the command key and tap on the delete key, and that deletes those clips and brings everything over to fill in the gap. If I hit undo, command Z, it brings it back. Now, Jack, you're asking about doing a ripple delete on one clip. So you really, the way that I typically would do cut a clip, that like if you have them all stacked on each other, I will basically just delete or cut the clip by hitting T. That trims it. That makes a space, and then I get rid of the clip that way. So if you're not touching, so I'll undo that. So I move the playhead. I tap on. I just select the one clip. Let me zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see. Let me get me a little bit out of here. Hopefully that's easier for you to see. Yeah, so when I want to clip, when there's clips on top of each other, if I want to cut that top clip, I will basically just select the one clip that I want to cut and tap the letter T, and then just get rid of that one clip. If you want to do both of them, you can select, I'll undo that, so nothing's cut. If you want to trim both of those, just select them both and tap T, and that'll get rid of both of them. And then if you were wanting to do a ripple delete, you press, for do ripple delete or to select it, you press the shift key first, and then drag out the selection. You can drag as long as you want. Another little bonus tip that I know when people see this blue line, it can make people crazy how to get rid of it. If you hold the Option key, oops, I'm not on it. So let me go back to this. If you have a selection, if you hold the Option key and tap on Z, that gets rid of that blue. And then if you have those blue diagonal lines, if you click on it, it doesn't do anything. But if you just click on any clip, so if I just click, they go away. Click, gone. But yeah, ripple delete, Shift key, drag out a selection, press the Command key, and delete, and that's a ripple delete. And this is an actual project that I need to edit, so hopefully I can keep track of what I'm deleting and playing around with. You're welcome, Valerie. Yeah, track selection. So if you go away with one thing, tap the letter N, click. Click, everything to the right selected, all the way down to timeline. That's actually good too if you're like, sometimes you get those orphan clips way down at the end of a timeline that you forget about. So if you just click those, you don't even have to, like, if where the track selection's often really helpful for me is if I'm zoomed way in on my timeline, which I do a lot when I'm editing. If I zoom way in, I don't have to zoom back out because I know that everything was selected. So it takes away that little bit of time of having to be like, did I select everything? Did I miss everything? Did I maybe hit something by accident? So I don't know why I'm not able to get, for some reason, I don't know why there it is. I was unable to get back there. This is truly the greatest group of people ever tonight. Thank you so much, Valerie. Screenflow is oops. Good, Jack. With V, it's one of those tips also though that you might do it without realizing you did it. So if you're unsure why you're not seeing something, you might have disabled it without realizing it, which I do all the time. Valerie says, you having issues with narration lately. After I record, it's been crashing. I can't say that I'm not that hasn't happened to me either. I don't know if it happens all the time, but I definitely, I would say that narration, I haven't had trouble recently, but I do know that I have had trouble in the past, so I can definitely understand that. I don't know the cause of it necessarily. I will say that with certain things of Screenflow, if you go really fast, like if you start jumping really quickly with the mouse, which I do all the time, I move in and out of things really quickly. Sometimes if you catch the wrong timing, like it might be catching up and you do something, it causes Screenflow to just glitch a little bit. I know there's certain things that I do where I'm kind of like, and I expect something bad to happen, and a lot of times it does. And I feel like with narration, that's one of those things where I'll be recording, I stop and I go back and I hit the record button quick because I'm kind of trying to maybe record a section. I'm not saying slow down necessarily, but I feel like that is one of those features where I run into problems where the screen or the narration bugs out on me. And when that happens, close and this is 90% of Screenflow's issues. Save your project, quit Screenflow, and reopen it. In 99.9% times, that fixes every single thing for me. So if a lot of times with what did I just do? Let me I must have zoomed way in. I was going to bring up the narration button. Which, by the way, so again, Valerie, I feel like I know it can be frustrating because I feel like I've fought a little bit with narration, but overall it's pretty great. Like a real go-to of mine. I find it incredibly helpful. But what I was going to say, when you record a so if I'm recording, this might cause things to go crazy. When I click stop, so sometimes here's where I will have issues with narration. When I'm done recording, like a lot of times what happens is I'll record a little bit and I'll be like, oh, I didn't like that, and I'll discard and I'll record again, I'll go discard. That's what I mean by going fast. I'll often just kind of keep quickly doing the run through of my narration if I didn't get right the first time. And I feel like sometimes I might overstep the discarding from when Screenflow is like still processing, and that's often when I run into the issue. I don't know if you're doing the same type of thing, but again, it's not something that I could definitely it's not something that I could like replicate the issue, but if you have trouble with narration, shutting down Screenflow and reopen it, honestly, it has fixed any issue that I've ever had with narration. And if people are not familiar with the narration tool, it is really a great, if I'm editing something and I realize there was a mistake or something I said that I just did not like, rather than re-recording your entire, having to go up to the top menu and, record everything, just adding a little bit of audio, inserting a little clip of audio, it's awesome. It just adds an audio clip right on top of the tracks, and I use it all the time. I never use this. I never use the timer, but yeah, I use it all the time. All right, Valerie, how do you add a clip to the top of the timeline? Sometimes I want... Oh, God, that's another... You guys are picking all this. Everybody probably has the same gripes in Screenflow. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and I think I've just gotten used to a lot of things. There are a couple things over here which a lot of people don't realize, but if you come to this side, I don't know if it's going to allow me to do it. Let me see if... I'm trying to juggle. I'm juggling. So let me get your comment out of here so I can make a little room. If we come down here to the timeline. So if you look at these three little lines down here below, when you click that, it's going to make a liar out of me. It's not wanting to work for me because so that was a perfect example. I must have had the track select tool selected on my cursor. So if you're finding things weird, if things aren't selecting, there's a good chance that you have N selected, and just tap A. But yeah, those three little lines right there allows you to move the entire track up and down. Sort of a little unknown, or not unknown, but like something you probably don't go to all the time. And there's these little track things that are super unhelpful, but they are available. So those are just meant to expand the tracks a little bit. But those three little lines, that little hamburger menu, is designed to allow you to move the clips. And then, honestly, I just typically will I just move them. Oftentimes, if you go straight up and down, you have better luck than kind of coming at them with an angle. But I can move things up and down. There are some times where it just feels stuck, and just come at it from a different angle and just move up, straight up and over something, and it typically will allow you to get above them. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Valerie, you can ask as many questions you want, but I feel like, let's see. I love questions. Yeah, so Jack, why is my thing not working? So those little lines right there, or those up and down arrows, are the track heights. And you can also, let me zoom out. So you can move. Super confusing because the video that I'm showing is also we've got kind of an inception thing going on, but yeah, so you can move the timeline up and down. And then those little arrows over there will allow you to increase the track height a little bit, but you can't get as big as, you know, some programs. And then so if you look in the, okay, so that is showing you. So if you go into preferences, timeline, default track height, if you go to large, when you open up Screenflow, that'll default to the large tracks. And while we're talking waveform, I'm going to tap on V. If you ever want to separate the audio from the video, so I have my webcam and the audio on the same track. I'm just going to move this up a little bit. Oops. So if you ever want to separate the audio from the video track, you can right click and choose Detach Audio. And now your waveform and the video track are separate. So you'll have just a video on one and then just a waveform on the other. That's a bummer. Valerie, what audio interface are you using? What microphone? More question. Is there a way to audition audio from the stock library without having to open it first? I thought so. I'll show you. Oop. Yeah, I don't. I stopped purchasing the stock media library. Let's see here. I think my video tomorrow is, everybody talk me in now to, I think I'll do Screenflow tips tomorrow. Yeah, so you should be able to, I assume that's what you mean, from this library, from the media library. So over here on this left side where you see me right now, so this me, right there, you're seeing me in the clip inspector. So this is from the media library, and I just put show in clip. Then there's a little play button down here and below it. And it's playing the audio. I'm wondering why it's allowing me to do it, because I don't have a subscription. Let me see if it's yeah. Well, it allows me to preview it, but it doesn't allow me to put it on my timeline. So, and if you double click on anything over here in your media bin, it'll allow me to buy it, $79 a year. That's interesting. The Valerie, the narration issues, I really don't have such a that seems kind of odd. I feel like there's something else going on. It sounds like you've done a million troubleshooting things, but I might really, one, make sure that you're using the latest version of Screenflow. Two, double check, because I think some of the new updates with the Macs, with the computer, with the applications, are sometimes throwing off some of the preferences. So go into your system preferences and just double check that Screenflow is in your privacy. And we kind of have to do this now with all the new Macs. But just double check to make sure Screenflow is, has all the audio permissions on, like the full disk access, screen recording, audio. Check them all. Make sure that Screenflow is checked. And then I think I'd probably go through and just uninstall Screenflow and then reinstall it. but if it really seemed, because for the most part, the things that I experience in Screenflow are intermittent for sure, and there's always things go wrong always in the worst time, but for the most part it's very stable. So if something's really not working well, like it's oftentimes something going on the Mac, or something, I don't know, that feels a little quirky to me. But there are ghosts in every machine. You are welcome. Welcome. Hopefully that helped. Yeah, the telestream support, it can definitely be, oh, you know what I would do? I will tell you this. I'll give you another little tip. But yeah, telestream support, it's one of the reasons I want to like go back in there more. I like the guy that does it. He does a good job in there, but telestream, their go-to answer is that it's not their fault. Is the way I sort of interpret a lot of the messaging, where it's really like I don't think anyone's trying to find a fault with the program. They just want to find an answer. But I always feel like that's like the go-to response. So people get frustrated with not in their defense. I think a lot of the problems though that happen end up being problems that are related, that are system related on the Mac. Though it's kind of it's a tough thing sometimes to solve those intermittent weird problems. But I'm going to tell you to go to, let me see if I can, give me a minute here. So what I might tell you to do, yeah, uninstalling is definitely not a bad thing. In the preferences, you see right here, this uninstall driver. Things are in the way. One, I would check to see what you have here. See if you have anything checked in any of these boxes. See if you have any of those checked. Also, double check your configure recording screen. That's this right here. So make sure you check your audio settings for what you use to record. See if you have any of these on, or just see what you have, and maybe consider doing an uninstall. When you uninstall the driver, that driver is the driver generally to record the computer audio, so it probably shouldn't really affect your microphone if that's where you're mainly having the problem. But I'm one of those people that just kind of likes to, when I'm troubleshooting something weird, just to kind of check all the boxes. So I might just give that a whirl, uninstall it, and then reinstall it. But whenever you do anything, like when you're really doing a big, this big, let me try to get this out of here. There's way too much of me on the screen. That's because I zoomed way in. But yeah, when you're doing the troubleshooting like that, shutting down the program, quitting it, even doing doing a full restart of your computer in between the kind of uninstalling, reinstalling, I would definitely get in the habit of doing that, or definitely recommend doing that. Shut down the program, make a change, restart your computer, see if it helps. Awesome questions. Loving it. Yeah, but Valerie, I feel like you shouldn't. It's frustrating, and you're saying other people are having it. I wonder if it had anything to do with I don't remember when the last update was. There hasn't been an update in a while. I think there has been an update, but it's been few and far between, which is kind of typical. They kind of don't release a lot in between major versions. They like to get the upgrade. I'm hoping that the next upgrade introduces a few new features, but I feel like it hasn't changed drastically. It's getting better each time, more stable. It's getting a little more modern, but I think we're due for a few little upscale or upgrades. Let me try to leave you with one other good one. So we've got style presets. I've done this in the past, but Valerie, unfortunately, that's not how it works with Telestream. You do get a discount, but their big upgrades are always paid. It's kind of a bummer. I think you can do the yearly. I think they do have that like upgrade. Well, I did not talk about creating templates. I find templates not helpful at all for me. And maybe because I don't use them enough. The super chat isn't working. I thanks anyways. Not for trying. Casey, I appreciate it. Not necessary at all, but I just clicked on super chat. I have it. I am monitoring it. I'm only asking, or I'm only troubleshooting it because I've never really used it online. So, but I am. Well, not necessary. The gesture itself is for definitely. I don't know what's going on. It's allowing. I haven't finished it, so or I haven't gone through the process, but I can see it. At least it's on. Thanks. If it doesn't work, thank you anyways for the attempt. Very much appreciated. You would love to learn a system. So Valerie, I don't know when you hopped on, but I promised. I've been trying to make a class forever on Screenflow. I think I probably started on Screenflow 9. It's going to be Screenflow 12 before I get out. Huh, that's weird. I've never gotten a super chat, so I don't know if it's on mine end or your end. But if it doesn't work, that's okay. I do thank you for trying. So Valerie, back to your I am desperately trying to put out a concise package class on basically how I edit videos in trying to package it in a way that I think will be for people who just want to sort of like master the ScreenFlow process of jumping in, making videos, and moving on. I hope to have it. I told Amir earlier I was going to have it out in 6 weeks. So I will try to put, if it's helpful. I mean, if there's things that you want me to like try to do more, or like something you have in mind about like creating a flow, or something specific, I will certainly try to incorporate it. But I'm hoping that the way that I'm packaging this class helps you or helps everybody by seeing the exact process that I use for creating a video from start to finish. And while I'm making this video, I hope to just pack in as many all the secrets, all the things that I do. And I make videos quickly, well, as quickly as I should say efficiently, not always quickly, but make that class. Oh my god. Well, at least there's, yeah, last year I was making it and I had like, yeah, I almost had it like prepaid. I almost had people pre-ordering it, and I still didn't get it done. And I'm a total go-getter too, is the problem, is that I'm pretty hardworking at things, and for whatever reason this class just keeps eluding me. When I get it out there, I'm going to be very relieved, and I have like 5 classes in the hopper ready to go. So I'll get there. I need pushing. Tonight's helped considerably. So back to Casey. Casey, if there's something I can do to help or anything. Okay, I'm not sure why I'm getting that warning, but to Valerie, thank you for the quick videos. That's definitely what I tried to do. To confirm for me, would learning my workflow, like I've approached the class. The class is going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge, or not a hodgepodge, but I want it to be partial tips. But would learning my start to finish workflow in short form be helpful? Like, would that be a worthwhile? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Casey. I do appreciate it. With everything I make, and the reason I'm asking Valerie is with everything I make, I want it to be as most like helpful, in the most helpful format. And my idea was to create the class really behind the scenes of exactly how I use ScreenFlow, because I figure if I use it, I'm not going to cover. I don't use every single feature in ScreenFlow. But I think if people can see how I make a video from start to finish, and then piece together make it fit to their own their own workflow. That is my approach. I mean, I have this whole thing already. It's ready to go. I mean, the outline's done, and I make things pretty quickly. So within 6 weeks, the class will be out. Let's just put it that way. I'd be curious, whoever is here now, do you script all tutorials that you make or all videos? From scripting to final, that's awesome, Casey. The process is what you need the most, yeah. For me, I love seeing how other people do even like basic stuff. It gives me ideas of how, not all, but some. Yeah, no scripting. Yeah, I don't script my tutorials, but I do. Oh, nice. Keyboard Maestro is one of those tools that I feel it. I feel like I'm always surprised that I don't use Keyboard Maestro, because I know it's something that I would want to use, because I'm such a keyboard shortcut person. I use Text Expander, which is similar, but I feel like Keyboard Maestro is better, and I don't know why I don't use it. But Photoshop is definitely my my do-all tool. I can do anything in Photoshop. Yeah, I don't script my tutorials. I did a podcast for many years, and I scripted that completely from start to finish. I wrote it exactly how I wanted to say it, and I would still continue to do that. But for my tutorials, I do not script. But I am very conscious of the words I use. Yeah, Casey, I think you prompted me to go. I can't take on another tool to learn or to play with. I go down rabbit holes. Let's just put it that way when it comes to tools. But Keyboard Maestro is something that I'm very familiar with. I've looked at it enough, but I think you might have just sparked my memory to. It's kind of been on one of those tools. Actually, like Ecamm Live was like that. I've had Ecamm on my computer. I'm sure I know I've downloaded trials of Keyboard Maestro and just never gave it enough time. Or I'm familiar with it enough to knowing that there are certain tools that I know I'm going to get back to eventually. And I feel like that's one. So maybe you just triggered me or gave me a little nudge to go check it out. I know a lot of people love a lot of productivity tools. For me, I get them and they're awesome and I love them. And quite honestly, I forget about them after a little while. There are only certain tools that really stick with me. So I'll give that another go around and see if I can fall in love with it into my workflow. Well, tonight was super. I didn't do any of the things that I thought I was going to do tonight. Well, I mean, in terms, I thought I was going to edit an entire video live tonight, but it turned into awesome questions. Casey, I might hit you up with that or ask you questions if I run into anything. Some info. I'll hit you up on that if I run into questions. Thanks for offering. And then Casa Esther. Some info regarding from iPad and Mac simultaneously would be nice. That's another area in Screenflow that I feel like you got to be. Casey owns Keyboard Maestro. He's or he should be. He's the good spokesperson. No, yeah, Esther. iPad and Mac. I feel like Screenflow I feel like I often have issues or glitches when I plug in my iPad or Mac directly and use it as a source. I mean, it works great most of the time, but I feel like over time, the iOS devices oftentimes glitch out in Screenflow for me. But yeah, I mean, it should work fine. Oftentimes, you have to sort of balance between what you see. You know, if you're recording your Mac or how you want to display them, that often becomes the trickery part. How you want to display things. I use a program called Reflector, and Reflector allows you to project your iPhone or your iPad on the Mac. So I record my screen, and it also puts the frame of the iPad or the iPhone, so it looks like it's actually the the real iPhone case or the outside. So Reflector 4 is what I use to I do AirPlay. To my Mac, I record my screen, so I don't actually plug in my Mac or my iPhone or my iPad. Typically, I will usually just do it through screen sharing and Reflector 4, and then I record my screen. But yeah, so next week's live stream will be about Keyboard Maestro and learning Keyboard Maestro. Okay, so thank you everybody so much for all the questions. It was exactly what I hope for every week, is endless questions. And I will stay on these live streams as long as people keep asking questions. So keep them coming. I do use a there is my Stream Deck right here. So I don't use it as much as I should, or as much as I know it would be helpful, but it's awesome. The Stream Decks are pretty amazing. And yeah, I do use them for make it super helpful for eCam, switching through my cameras. And yeah, they're a great tool. Oh, thank you, Casey. I'm just super I love when people tell me that what I'm making is actually helping them, which is why I do it. So much appreciated. You owe me nothing, but thank you. Yeah, hopefully you can see, Valerie, this is the Stream Deck. I have it on a little magic arm, and this is like a little, it's like a $10 clip from, I think it's an Etsy thing. There are other ways to do it, but there was actually something that holds the Stream Deck, and I have it on a little arm, so they're great. Stream Decks are, they're kind of like productivity tools. They're amazing, but when you start doing different things and you're moving things around, sometimes you get distracted or there's too many things. But if you were to focus, if you were to actually like set up a great workflow, the Stream Deck is just, it's kind of amazing. Like it really is like just an incredible tool. Incredible. I like things that work, that like it's incredibly simple to program and it works every time. When you like you press the button, it does what you expect it to. Right now I just press the button and it's cycling through my cameras, and I appreciate tools that are intuitive to use and they work when you want them to. Which, I mean, it seems kind of obvious, but yeah, the Stream Deck is one of those tools that just like it felt gimmicky at first, and then I'm like, no, it just works. So and then if you are using I know Valerie used Ecamm Live, such an amazing tool. Another tool that is I feel like not late to the party. I'm actually quite early to Ecamm. I just didn't use it for a few years, so I'm late back to it. But wow, such a great piece of software, and it works seamlessly with Ecamm or with Stream Deck. And if I get to and for everybody, I think you've seen this on my my big goal is to do more live streams and animations with characters. So this character is doing whatever I'm doing. So as I'm speaking and my head turns, it is lip syncing. It's following my whatever I'm saying. It's following my movement. And this is sort of my ultimate goal, is to have more interactive type animation things where I'm actually teaching using a character, or something like this where it's fun. These are the kind of things that I spend hours playing with and waste time. Well, I say waste time, but that's something that I hope to do much more of, is doing sort of character animation teaching and or just interactive, kind of going between two different, live and a human or a character. Awesome, Valerie. Yeah, so you must know if you get bit with the character bug, as you will, or the animation thing, it's I want to spend all my time doing animation type things. I'm using Character Animator. So Adobe Character Animator, it is included in the Creative Cloud, and it is an amazing tool. I have tutorials coming out about it. I have a couple already, but it's a big, I wouldn't say a big program. It's super intuitive, or it's very easy to get started, but it's also super complex to really get it to do, like, everything you want to do. But it's an amazing program. It just keeps getting easier and easier. They keep making it. It started out really pretty thin, or not thin, but like very little confusing, and they just keep making it easier and more user friendly. And it's still a little bit weird if you're not familiar with it, but it's amazing. It's incredible, and it works over NDI. So this is just NDI, and this basically anywhere that you use, I can bring this into Adobe After Effects, and I can bring it into this tool is so powerful, so powerful. What I'm doing right now is nothing. Like the people who really know how to use Character Animator, like the creator, has amazing tutorials on it. If you look up Adobe Creative or Adobe Character Animator, there's a channel called OK Samurai, and Dave is kind of the guy behind. He works for Adobe. He's an incredible artist, and he has awesome tutorials, tons of them. And again, he's kind of the guy behind Character Animator. I mean, it's Adobe engineers, but he's sort of the creative guy behind it and does all the instructions for it. His tutorials are great. He's awesome. He's an amazing artist. He does a lot of the backgrounds, and he makes all the characters. And once you go down that rabbit hole, Valerie, you may spend a lot of time in it. It's awesome. There's not enough time for my playing in these tools. Kevin Murphy, thank you. Yeah, that is, I wish I could show you the program. Maybe I can. Let me jump to, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Yeah, because I have it on the other computer, but. And I can't do a lot with this character. This one's pretty basic, but I can move his arms. I can dance and move my head and speak, and I can move him around. But all of these things that I'm doing with this character, you can record. You can also record it just like you could any screencast or any video. So you can do full-on recordings and do lip syncing and have a full scene and just record it like a movie, and when you're done you just stop it and you have a full animation. So yeah, Adobe Character Animator is a good one to know. Yes, it's you will find yourself down it easily. Welcome, Kevin. Yeah, Snapcam and those, I mean, quite honestly, those are the easiest things to do. I mean, I find those using the programs like Snap Camera and using like clips on your phone. Those are going to give you the much easier animation, quite honestly, than using something like Character Animator. But if you really want to do like I think more interesting characters, because you can create the characters, customize them, you make them in Photoshop or Illustrator. You can really do some complex animations in Character Animator versus just using the Snap Camera, which is, you know, fun. Don't get me wrong, but let me see if I can pull this up real quick. It may backfire on me, but we're going to see. We shall see. May or may not work, but I'm going to try anyways. No, it's not. So these seem to be... Oh, it's locked. Let me see if I can unlock one here. Yeah, so using the Clips app... Oh, it's not working. For whatever reason, I'm frozen up here. I don't know why. Let me see if I can... For whatever reason, I'm trying to get this camera working, but it's not. One more try. Let's see if that'll work. I don't know why it's not working. Oops. It's working now, but it's gigantic. Yeah, so using the Clips app can give you some animations, which is kind of cool. I think you probably, Valerie, if you're on the Ecamm community, you probably see a lot of the emojis. I feel like a lot of people use the emojis, but you can definitely get some, Let me go into this. I personally like the some of these effects. Like this effect. If you were to do, you know, with certain apps on your phone, just streaming them, you could end up doing an animation that would probably trick a few people into, or would add some interest and excitement, I think, adding a element. I think some of these apps can work pretty cool from the phone, which is similar to like the Snap camera. In a pinch. And I'm kind of hand holding this, so it's a little annoying. I should have this up in my... The problem with some of these apps, though, is that they don't have the clean HDMI out. So you have to sort of be trickery with the camera placement. But, you know, you could do a pretty cool, you know, live demonstration with a character, and I don't know, find it kind of cool. Adds a nice little effect. And I am using the Clips app. Pretty cool. And that is both the Clips app that I'm using. I'm streaming through NDI, which is also what I'm using when I go into Character Animator. This is done through NDI. Yes, you can make totally embarrassing animation clips that people seem to love. So I am going to wrap up tonight and thank everybody that came along. And if you're watching on the replay, the first 20 minutes you won't hear anything because of a blunder that I was unaware of. So apologize for that, but it's a little too late because you're not going to hear the apology until the very end. But thank you for coming out. Thanks for all the great questions, Valerie, Casey, Jack, Amir, and all the encouragement about the Screenflow class. I definitely needed it, and I'm happy that there's a demand for it, and now I just have to get it out there to the world. It's not that far away from being done, so I just gotta get cracking. But I'm glad there's interest in it, and I know I'll be doing more Screenflow focused stuff on the live streams. And for those wondering why I haven't been making Screenflow tutorials, I didn't realize there was that much of a gap between the last one I did. I feel like I make them all the time, quite honestly, but I got a couple comments about where are they. So yeah, I honestly didn't feel like there was that long of a gap between the last ones that I made, but I think I made 5 in the last couple, 4 or 5 in the last couple of days that I wasn't planning on releasing, or I put them in the hopper a little bit. So I think I'll get one out tomorrow since I have one already made, and apparently there's been a delay in the Screenflow flow. So more on that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody, and I will see you next Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Let me pull up my little thumbnail here. every Monday, 9 p.m. Here's a little fun animation for on the way out. Yeah, so Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. Six weeks, holding me to it. I think I'm officially on the hook for the 6-week number, which is the number that I really told myself it has to be done. So, if I don't have it in 6 weeks, then definitely pester me. But there should be no reason why it's not out sooner than that. But making classes is really hard. It shouldn't be for the amount of stuff that I make. But for whatever reason, there's a different level of, you just want it to be so good and polished, and I think you overthink class making for some reason, but it'll happen. Thank you, and see you next week.